My name is Liam, and you're watching The Rhyme Apple. Today, I thought I'd make a quick discussion video all about vinyl, my favorite thing in the world. My goal here is to tell you a bit about my own journey into the world of vinyl record collecting, as well as to share a few tips about some common misconceptions on how to get started. Firstly, though, a quick disclaimer. I am not an expert. I don't claim to know all there is to know about music, vinyl, or anything in between, and most of what you'll hear in this video, as well as all my videos, is strictly opinion-based, okay? So take everything with a grain of salt. I personally began my first voyage into the world of music collecting about 5 to 6 years ago. I received this vinyl, Vessel, by 21 Pilots, and this vinyl, Gorillaz' self-titled album, as Christmas gifts. Along with them, I was also gifted a turntable, some vintage speakers, and a stereo system. If you already have an eye for speakers, turntables, or sound equipment in general, you probably will have noticed something already about my setup. While some may consider it to be vintage, it's mostly just old, and it's not very impressive. This brings me to my first subject, getting ready to collect. Many hardcore hobbyists will try to say that a certain level of quality must be attained before you can even consider buying your first vinyl. In my opinion, this is total BS. Some collectors will absolutely insist that you can't even start a collection without every bell and whistle that delivers the highest quality of playback. Turntables that cost $600, hi-fi speakers, studio headphones. These things are nice, but they're a little over the top, at least for most beginners. These people sometimes call themselves audiophiles, but I usually just call them ignorant. And don't get me wrong. There's no problem with pursuing higher audio quality for a more enjoyable playback experience. For today's average listener, though, and even for a beginning collector, there's just no reason to break the bank before even dipping your toes into the world of vinyl and the world of collecting as a whole. I recommend taking it slow, and trust me, I practice what I preach. I'm 5 years into the gig of collecting, and I have yet to upgrade a single aspect of my setup, technically. Will it ever happen? Eventually, yes, it will, and I'm looking forward to it. But for now, I'd rather just grow my collection. Records aren't cheap, not like they used to be. And if you're new, you'll soon come to know that some are in limited supply. So I'd rather just spend my slow and very unsteady income on the occasional vinyl purchase that means a lot to me, rather than dump everything I have into one new upgrade. Secondly, I'd like to talk about the beginnings of your collection. Remember those records I showed you a minute ago? I'd like to revisit those. While some may consider Gorillaz' self-titled debut to be a relatively important album in the relatively recent history of music, I doubt that too many people would say the same for 21 Pilots' Vessel. Nevertheless, Vessel is, and has been for some while, an all-time favorite album of mine. I put these records on my Christmas list for one reason only. They both meant something to me, and they still do. I didn't want them for their significance in the musical landscape or for their impact within their respective genres. I wanted Gorillaz for Clint Eastwood and 192000, and Vessel for Ode to Sleep and Holding On to You. It's as simple as that. My point is this. Some collectors, many of which are right here on YouTube, by the way, will try to say that some records are essential for a complete or legitimate collection. This simply isn't true. Now, while some collectors may just be saying this as a hyperbole in an attempt to persuade you to give these records a listen, others seem to have actually become convinced that certain records are necessary for a good collection, and this is concerning to me. Folks, the opposite is true, I promise. There is no such thing as an essential record. I may seem like a hypocrite with Dark Side of the Moon displayed right on my shelf back there, but I promise that record is on display because it actually has a certain level of meaning to me. And all of the records in your collection should have meaning to you. I have personally come to know other collectors online and in person who have spent money through persuasion alone, only to realize that they just don't like the music once the needle drops. Now, don't let me discourage you from living on the edge, because every now and then, if you have the money to spare, it can be a real thrill to buy something you know nothing about through persuasion alone, purely based on a recommendation. Sometimes you'll discover something really cool. Remember, though, that no sales figures or chart-topping statistics will ever make your ear enjoy something that you just don't like. At the end of the day, a good collection is made of records that you enjoy and have enjoyed to collect. It's as simple as that, and try to remember that going forward if you're a beginner. Lastly, I'd like to discuss continuing your collection. This is arguably the most important part of the beginning of any collection, yet my advice here is pretty simple. After you establish the basics, you'll be buying more and more records as you become increasingly knowledgeable about pricing and how to buy and where to buy. During this process, you'll probably develop a bit of buyer's anxiety or FOMO. I know I have, and it's eaten me up through the years. In the world of vinyl records, it's important to remember that the term limited edition is your arch nemesis. And technically speaking, everything is limited edition. But labels love to throw this term around and use it as a weapon with the hope that you'll be scared into buying a pressing before it sells out. Remember this, most records get pressed multiple times, and a lot. So patience is key. Don't let labels or other collectors pressure you into buying something before it goes away forever, because about 95% of the time, it'll be back. Folks, that's all I have today. Be sure to comment down below what you agree with or disagree with, and if you think I missed any other common misconceptions about vinyl collecting, let me know as soon as you can. Of course, most of the videos I make here on the channel are meant to be short, sweet, and to the point, and I feel like that's exactly what I did today. I could easily expand on this concept in the future, and I might even make a part 2. So if you like this video, be sure to leave a like, and if you really liked it, be sure to subscribe. This has been the Rhyme Apple. I'll catch you on the flip side.